I am so honored to be joined by my friend Leisa Chaney. I've known Leisa for decades, and you are a member of Canyon Hills Community Church. You and your husband, Kelly, started out last week by posting a beautiful picture of Maui, and then everything happened. Can you walk me through what it was like?
Well, Sarah, thanks for asking me to come on today. We knew that Hurricane Dora was south of the islands, and we knew it was going to be a little bit windy, but we had no idea what it was going to be like when we landed on Monday. We landed around 3, or actually got to our place around 3, and 12 hours later, the power went out. And then we thought, that's okay. We can deal with that. It'll be okay. It'll probably be out for a few hours. And then we decided, Wednesday it was much, much worse. And actually Tuesday it was much worse. And we finally decided we would walk out to the beach. And when we did, all we could see was plumes and plumes of black smoke south of us. And we had no idea what was burning or how much was burning. And then shortly after that, all the phone went down. No internet, no phones. Now we have no internet, no phone, no power. So we thought, okay, we can deal with this. We were watching the winds. The winds was blowing the smoke away from us. So we felt pretty safe. We felt like the Lord was protecting us so far. And then about 11:30 that night, they started banging on doors telling us we had to pack up and evacuate. And we're like, oh, my gosh. Okay, Lord, what do we do? Where do we go? Here we go. And so we threw all of our stuff in our suitcases, which was a miracle in the dark, drove north. They had a school open. The school, God bless them for opening it, but it didn't really have anything in it. They gave us all a beach towel, and we slept in our car because there really wasn't anything to sleep on in the school. But we had great opportunities to talk with people and prayed for a couple people up there. There was thousands of people at this school. And the thing we didn't really realize until the morning is how many locals were up there that had lost their homes. They had probably lost their job because the buildings that they were in Lahaina had burnt, and probably very possibly their cars. So now we are surrounded with people that have no homes, no cars, no jobs, no power. Wednesday, it really hit us that there's no food because everybody's food is spoiled because the power's all off. No restaurants are open because there's no power. Nobody has any food because it's all spoiled. The grocery stores are all closed because nobody can sell anything because there's no power. And so we just thought, okay, Lord, you've brought us this far. What do we do now?
The domino effect. It's like it's making perfect sense as you're saying it because you just lived it. And, with no cell access, with no news, the rest of us around the country are getting these updates. And we probably know more about what's actually going on than you do.
Yeah, you guys did. We really had no idea of how bad Lahaina had been burnt until like 2 days later.
Who was giving you updates? Who had like a satellite phone? Who was the ringleader of this?
Nobody had anything. It just kind of went hand in mouth the old-fashioned way. Somebody would tell somebody who could tell somebody. That's the only reason that we learned the highway had finally opened. I believe you guys have been here. One highway in, one highway out. And the fire had been on both sides of that highway. So they had to shut it down. And once it opened, we just felt like we had to go. We got a little bit of cell service the night before. My good friend Rachel reached out to me and said, hey, if you can get the key, hey, I've got a house you guys can stay in. And so we got up yesterday morning at like 6:30, threw everything in the car.
Does she live on the island?
No, she lives by us in Lake Stevens, but she has a friend that has a house over here.
So she was doing all this work behind the scenes for you.
Yes, she was. And if you don't think that was answered prayer, I don't know what that is. We've had several people that once we got into cell service, I had 65 texts on my phone. 3 of them were from people saying, we have a place for you to stay. Can you call us? People didn't understand that we couldn't contact them. There was no way for us to reach out and contact people. Once in a while, you would look at your phone and you had cell service, and it might last 30 seconds, it might last 3 minutes, and then it was gone. We are safe in Kihei now, and it's like the west side of the island, there's really no way to describe how horrifically apocalyptic it is on that side of the island. When we left on the freeway, they told us we could not come back. They said, if you were leaving, you cannot return. And we said, that's okay. We're going to Kihei. So they're not letting anybody in. They're only letting people out. And we're just really, you just feel for these people. We actually got to watch the news last night, which was amazing. And they said that they don't expect them to get their power back for a month. So that is going to be so impactful. And that's why we really need to pray for these people. They're not going to have any power. They're not going to have jobs. A lot of them don't have homes. There's a ton of tourists trapped on that side of the island. And what we heard this morning is people are starting to siphon gas out of people's cars that still have gas in them because you can't get gas because there's no power.
I'm sort of at a loss for words. It's beyond tragic. Yep. And, yes, I'm grateful that you and your husband are okay. I'm grateful that you have a flight out, I think it's tomorrow, to come home. And yet at the same time, like, my heart is with every family that is just reeling. And so what is your plan when you come home to keep helping the families in Maui?
Well, I think probably once we get home, we'll be able to find out what is the most important thing that they need. I think right now it was the Salvation Army that was taking donations, but we've been coming here. We got married here. We decided to come over here and get married when we got married, and so we've been coming here almost 27 years. And so a part of our heart is always here. And so when we get home, we really hope that there's something that we can do to continue to support the people here that have lost so much.
Absolutely.
The people that have lost everything, Sarah, that don't know Jesus are probably so desperate because they don't have that hope. They don't have the hope. They don't have that relationship with Jesus. And so I think that is also a huge prayer request, too, that Jesus would reveal himself to these people and that they would call out to him and begin to have a personal relationship with him, and it would change their lives.
Well, and you and I both know that the way that happens is when we show up, like you said, with the Salvation Army, when we show up and we give to families and help them. I have another friend named Tony who is currently raising money for a family on that island, Caleb and his wife, Corey, and they've got 2 young kids. Their homes were destroyed. And she has been collecting money for them for the past 24 hours. And I think it's just, this is how it happens, right? If you know even one family or one organization, if we all step up and show the love of Jesus in these times, that's how those who don't know him are like, okay, I guess this is the way that the kingdom of God works.
Yep. You've got to step up and be the hands and feet of Jesus for people that don't know anything about him. Any
further thoughts? I know you sent me a few videos. It's one thing to see about it on the news, and it's another thing to literally be there. So that's why I wanted to hear from you as you're still on this island. What are your thoughts? What are your prayers?
I think our thoughts are, we know what it's like over here, and it's going to be this isn't going to be a quick fix. An entire town is gone where hundreds and thousands of tourists came every year. So the impact on this island is going to be huge for a long time. And it's not going to be easy to rebuild that town that had hundreds and hundreds of years of history in it. And so I think just the prayer would be that they would just be able at some point to be able to rebuild, and that they would be able to rebuild that town in a way that it reflects the time-honored, heritage and stuff that was there, but also that it would allow the people to get back at some point to their livelihood and be able to have some sort of life again here, because it is such a beautiful place. And I'm just sitting here looking out over the ocean while I'm talking to you, and the other side of the island is across from me, and you can't see around the corner where all the devastation is. But from where we're sitting, it's just this beautiful, amazing place, and that God created many moons ago, and that's why people love coming here. And it's so damaged now. So, my prayer would just be that they would get the help that they need, and that they would at some point be able to rebuild.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Leisa, thank you so much for taking the time to call in. I wish you
welcome, Sarah.
Safe travels home tomorrow. All my love to your husband, Kelly. And very thankful you're safe and for your articulate words, just as we all just need to hear that firsthand account that there's hope, but it's going to take all of us.
Yes, it is. It for sure is.